Hello and welcome to the Limited Adhesion GT3 League Season 6. We're down under in Bathurst. Once again, you're joined by Less Random Chris and Random Dave. How are you this evening, Dave?
Yeah, I'm alright. Had a bit of snow today. Did you?
No, I'm down in Devon, down in the English Riviera, so we don't get snow too much. But I bet you enjoyed a bit of snow. Was it? You don't have to travel too much, did you?
No, I just traipsed around walking a dog and got really cold, wet feet.
I bet that wasn't the best of experience, and I don't think this will be the best experience for some of our drivers as well. It's a notorious track, isn't it? It's a drive to survive experience. We'll see how things progress today.
I can't stand this track. I don't know why people like it so much. It's just too hard. It's too hard. They need to make it easier.
Yeah, we'll soon find out. So here are the championship standings at the moment. So Ollie Walker well out in front on 144 points, with David Lyne on 83, Evan Conception right behind him on 81, and we've got Don Parker, Mark Innes and Stephen Maxwell all close together as well. We talked just after the race at Watkins Glen. We identified there might be a bit of a new favourite in terms of this race, particularly perhaps Don Parker, Evan Conception, maybe even Stephen Maxwell as well. Their cars might be suited to this. Ollie Walker, we might have our doubts about him this race, but we'll soon find out.
I've also heard that the Lambo is horrible around here.
All right, that's interesting to
Which
see how
Ollie
that
is
performs. Yeah, you're right. Mark Zeff leading the way in Club 1500 with Damon Mitchell on 119 and Dan Hill on 100 points. Simon Grau comes back this evening, so he'll be looking to make up that gap, as well as Chris White on 77 points there as well. So Rich Meisters, Stu Gerber, Steve Pepper also joining us this evening. So we do have quite a few cars surprisingly joining us in this most difficult of arenas. Alpha Esports and 4X Racing battling it out for the championship in the kind of constructors. In the top split, the A team have got a little bit of work to do, as well as the Wizards. Rob Miller, I don't think will be joining us. I think he's working hard down in Bahrain as we speak. So we'll soon find out for Club 1500, and I think there might be a one-horse race in terms of them as well. So let's see. Who is that in front? Is that Ollie Walker's car? It is indeed, yeah.
Yeah, is that new? What's happened there?
They must have some down under liveries or specific Australian specific.
Do you think, or do you just think that he just got drunk and then did a livery and then forgot about it?
Trading paint errors. So DSR out in front. So that's the orange team on 179 points, with DSR White on 146 tied with 722 Motorsports. So those three are running away with it. The other teams I've guessed they only have one participant in each team, or perhaps the team try hard. I haven't made it too often this season, I think possibly due to load shedding down in South Africa. But we do have Stu Gerber here, and yeah, these seem to be special Australian themed liveries. So that was a few kangaroos I seen on. It looks like Don Parker.
Yeah, but I thought I saw Nico Rosberg on Ollie's car, and he's not Australian, is he?
I don't think so. I think he's Finnish, isn't he? Yeah. So we're just showing off some of these. I think this is Ollie Ettridge.
Yeah, look.
Yeah, and
he's not Australian. It's Toto Wolff. He's Austrian. None of those people are Australian.
He's lost the plot. I think this is Evan Conception's. I don't know if that's Australian, but some type of attempt. And this is the in real life 12-hour livery from Rich Meisters. I guess Rich was taking part in the Bathurst 12 hours quite recently. And this is Steve Pepper's attempt as well. So yeah, a few liveries that we're going to have to keep our eyes out for. It might be difficult to spot through the race. Jake Weaver will be welcome back. So nice to see Jake back in the pack for the Club 1500. The ever familiar orange livery that we see him run with the next gens as well. So nice to see him. Right, so by the looks of it, it is Don Parker who has taken pole ahead of Steve Maxwell, so only 400ths of a second separate those two. Evan Conception takes third place, and Ollie Walker is indeed down. Looks like Dave Lyon is struggling a little bit compared to what we've seen so far this season. We've got Mark Innes, Paul Gerber, and I think Ollie Etridge might be starting from the pits. Simon Garau takes pole in the Club 1500 ahead of Damon Mitchell, so those two are probably looking like the favourites. Chris White in third, Rich Meesters in fourth, Stu Gerber, Steve Pepper, Sean Clark, James Pepper might be around as well, so making up those kind of standings. Jake Weaver opts to start from the back.
So Ollie Etridge's ride down there, is that because of a penalty, or did he just not qualify? Because he's really good around here.
Yeah, so maybe just fancied a bit of a challenge. So it didn't look like he set a time.
Yeah, I can't remember him getting a penalty from... Or maybe he did. No, he didn't. No, I can't remember.
No, I don't recall him getting tied up in anything. Yeah, so. Yeah, we'll see how long some of these drivers survive. It is a particularly error-prone track, especially going up the mountain and at the Dipper. So Don Parker leading the way. We did predict after our chat on the previous race that we thought he would do well, given that he did pretty well in the iRacing version of the Bathurst 12 Hours. As he gets them underway, Don Parker absolutely speeds off. Now it's leaving Maxwell in his dust. Fairly clean start so far. It was Line taking a sharp turn in there. Oh, single file as they go down Mountain Straight into the quarry bend. On board Mark Innes. Still to see Mark Innes get a podium, I think, this season, if I do stand corrected. But we might see something here if the front four have some issues. And speaking of issues, I think that's Damon Mitchell who's spinning around. Seems to have collected Rich Meesters, Steve Pepper as well, seen there, just coming to a stop. So that's promoted Simon Garau into first place for the time being as they come up through across Skyline almost. Reaching Skyline now. And that is a curb you want to avoid for sure. We've seen many a car get it wrong in previous seasons. There seems to be that's Chris White and a couple of others have stopped on track there. I think that was Ollie Etridge. We got caught up. We need to see some replays. No doubt we'll see some replays of what happened in those lap 1 incidents. Steve Maxwell still in second place, but he's got Evan Conception right behind him. I wonder if he'll take a look.
Well, it wasn't Maxwell, didn't he start in third? I thought Conception started second. Could be wrong.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, so he's managed to make up a place off the start. So
I think Lyons lost a place to Innes.
Yeah, he has, yeah. So he's got Paul Gerber right in his tail as well. So it looks like a breakaway 4 in the top split. It looks like Sean Clark is taking the lead in top split, so that's a great thing to see that Sean Clark, I think that's the first time he's been leading in Club 1500, so let's see how well he fares, making the most of other people's errors. Paul Gerber is trying to get some slipstream on David Line here.
It's quite easy to defend this next corner though, because you can just take it really tight. It just takes you around on rails really.
Yeah. We seem to have about 4 or 5 cars in the pits after lap 1. Not a good look for Club 1500, so a lot of guys have been taken out. And speaking of the leader of Club 1500, that's Sean Clark there. He's building up a substantial lead now because he's got all the way back to Rich Meesters, who seems to be just going past the pit entrance now. Or pit exit, I should say, rather. He's going to have a good 15 seconds or so lead. Keep that up, Sean, and you'll be looking at a great result today. That is the name of the game, keeping it clean. And so far, this top 4 have been pretty well. As that, Steve Maxwell going pretty wide. Managed to keep it out of the barrier.
It's amazing he didn't end up in the wall there. Every time I go off there, it's just game over, really.
Yeah, so well done, Stephen. That was well kept. Normally the car does like to slide into those barriers. We've seen it multiple times. So this is what happened lap 1 to Damon Mitchell. Just caught his back wheels on the curb. He slammed on the brakes, that's all he could do really. Du Gerber just getting clipped. He's slowing down, so he might have been meatballed by that, I'm not sure. He did get caught on the tyres, and Rich Miester's just collected from behind. Hopefully not too hard. This is what happened. Steve Pepper just tried to avoid a spinning Damon Mitchell. Just very little space for people to go in. That was Sean Clark making the most of everyone, all the carnage there. So Evan making a move down the inside of Stephen Maxwell, gets the job done early.
So Ollie's managed to keep up with them here, and I mean through here anyway. My understanding is that Lambo is a handful when at the top of the hill through those fast corners. So yeah, let's see if he manages to keep up through there. Yeah,
and we just heard him doing his usual fuel saving trick as we see some of the lap traffic coming out of the pits and letting the leaders go by, which is great to see, nice and safely. That was Steve Pepper and Chris White letting them past. So Rich Meester setting a fast lap in Club 1500 so far. He's hunting down Sean Clark at a rate of knots. This is Paul Gerber hunting down what looks like David Lyne. Doesn't look like Lyne is comfortable around here. He's tiptoeing around.
Look how much he caught him through there.
Yeah, he's tiptoeing through this section of the track. Lovely shot going down through the dipper.
I mean, it is a section that you can get away with slowing down a little bit. There's not really much chance of being overtaken there.
Yeah, this is what happened to Simon Garau on lap 1 from the lead. Just a little bit of oversteer on the cool tyres. Caught Chris White as well, so momentarily takes the lead. Jake Weaver slows down for the carnage. Looks like he might have caught, I think that's Ollie Ettridge. Yeah, it is Ollie Ettridge. Ollie was charging through, maybe didn't see any yellow flags, I'm not sure. This is what happened later on to Jake Weaver. Back tyres. It's a common error to happen.
There's another one.
Comedy of errors. I think that was Steve Pepper as well joining him in a bit of a ruckus. I hate when that happens. It's the back right wheel gets caught on that as you're braking.
You could tell he was taking it fairly easy as well, but sometimes just taking it easy kind of bites you.
Yeah. Steve Pepper also having a few issues there. Yes, it's going to be interesting to see how, if Maxwell and Walker, they've kind of slipped away from Evan Conception here. Evan might be just happy to sit behind Dom at the moment. Simon Garau setting a fast lap in Club 1500. Well, that was Lyne getting it wrong, and then also Paul Gerber looked like he had a bit of tunnel vision and followed them round. So in fact, it's Paul crabbing a little bit there. He's going to have to he's going to have to get it safely right. That's Ollie Walker. So absolute catalogue of errors from the top split drivers here.
All Lambos, well, and a Porsche.
Yeah, this is
how did he get away with that?
Yeah, I think he surely had to steer. He must have lifted off and steered right, because if you continue on straight, it throws you into that barrier. You did, yeah, exactly that. Well done, Stephen. That was a great control of the car. It could have ended very badly for not only himself but those behind him. This is Steve Pepper having a bit of a slide going into Quarry Bend. Jake Weaver taking another trip. This is not his favourite part of the track, I can see. This is what happened to Lyne and Gerber. Yeah, just
I think Lyne got away with that.
Lyne got away with it
there. on the
Not too
grass
sure
there,
about-
back in. Oh, yeah.
I think Line just got onto the tarmac just in time to take a bit of steering on it, but not for Paul, unfortunately.
Similar thing for Ollie there as well.
Yeah, just
Both top split Lambos making a mistake on the same lap.
yeah. That track does like to spit you out there, which is Mark Innes' view. Free position for him, but almost getting collected by Ollie coming spinning back onto the track. This is Sean Clark from the lead. Does he have an issue here? Oh, he managed to slams on the brakes and gets it stopped before the wall. But I think that was... Yeah, he's going to have Simon Garau coming chasing him down now, who's moved up to second place. Looks like Paul Gerber's in the pits. Yeah, a little bit of a gap forming here now between second and third.
The temperatures are really hot as well. I don't know if anybody's been caught out by this, but the practice session that was up was like 22 degrees, but the race is 50.
Wow, it's a massive difference. It will be very slick out there. And that was Rich Meesters coming into the pits. I assume that wasn't a planned stop. Ah, that was Rich almost taking first place from Sean Clark, and he just got it into the barriers. Is he going to drag it round, or is he going to have to tow?
It's another Lambo off.
Yeah, that's Lambo incident count number 3.
I think it might be 4. But the Microprose one.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
So he has managed to drag that back to the pits. Oh yeah, Simon Garau. I guess these two drivers, they didn't know that Rich probably had some damage there. He just got caught out by the difference in speed. Yeah, eventful start there, Dave. What do you make of all that?
Well, we've just been from one track where there was a big pile up between the barriers at the start, and everybody crashed at the beginning, to another one.
Yeah, it's a bit of a pinball arena here at Bathurst, but it is what it is. But, these two seem to be coping fairly well. I'm not surprised by Dom, given that he's had a lot of experience around this track quite recently. He's doing superb at the moment. He built out a nice lead from Stephen Maxwell in third.
Look at the gap from 6th to 7th here now. Tells you everything you need to know about what's happened up to this point.
Yeah, it does indeed. And even from the track map, you can see it from first place in the clubbers is absolutely miles off from the top split. So no fuel saving appears from Evan at the moment.
I don't think there's too much point, unless you can just do it for free, right? Like I guess you might be able to get a lap to do an extra lap or so. But it's not critical to do it, is it?
Yeah, that's right. We've just seen Sean Clark there, still in the lead, but he has got Simon Grau bringing that lead down to 3.3 seconds. But he has got quite a substantial lead ahead of Rich Meesters, who is in third. And we've just seen a lovely shot of the Australian nature there, tried by our expert cameraman.
It's Line on Ollie.
Yeah, it's on Ollie here. So both struggling, but it looks like Ollie might be struggling a little bit more.
May have had a little bit of damage from that crash, actually.
Yeah, so he's opted to pit.
I think Line just slightly scraped his rear end, but got away with it.
Right, so that's interesting. So I wonder if that's enough to get him around a full circuit if he tops up in fuel now. We'll find out as the race progresses. Du Gerber sitting in fourth. He's trying to get a position on Rich Meesters. It's nice to see Du back in the fold for Club 1500. It's a little bit slow coming out of there. Rich might be vulnerable being in Lambo, as we've seen. This is Sean Clark. Is he going to defend the position from Simon, or does he seed it nice and cleanly? I guess he doesn't want to I think he plays it safe, which might be the best idea around this track. So that is a lead change for Club 1500. Simon Grau takes the lead. And it appears so Evan is just happy to sit behind Parker at the moment in the top split. Appears as though White has entered the pits for the second time. Yeah, so this is what happened to Ollie.
It's a second crash. It's a second crash, yeah.
So I wonder if his steering has bent. This is Ross Meesters.
I was about to say, because I don't. With Ollie's first spin, I didn't think he didn't hit anything, did he?
No, I think he managed to save it, so it must have affected this second one. Wow, that's proved the Lambo's vulnerabilities there. It just
that's all we're watching, really. Just Lambos spinning around.
But yeah, Dugerber takes advantage of that and moves up in position. And I think that was James Pepper also back out on track. Yeah, so interesting. So I don't think that was a planned pit stop there by Damon Mitchell. I'm not sure. We didn't see any incidents from him, so perhaps he's just trying another strategy.
Yeah, I think the pit window is open at this time. Going to do an early one.
Yeah. So
if you want to, if you feel like you're being held up.
Yeah. So not too much action in terms of overtaking. Like you can see from the timing standings there, it seems to be pretty spread out. Lines almost caught up to Innes a little bit here. And Evan seems to have just maintained that gap. Be interesting to see if Maxwell can try and bite into this as well if they start battling away.
He might, but also I expect he's probably looking at his third place thinking this would be great to get a podium. Because I don't think he's had one yet.
Yeah, he's being close on so many occasions.
He may be looking at the fact he's 11 seconds ahead of fourth.
Yeah.
And he's in the podium position.
Yeah, anything can happen. And, speaking of Stephen Maxwell, he was just spotted in the background there. And it goes past. Yeah, clubbers are very spread out. I think we've only got Mitchell and Pepper who are anywhere near each other. It looks like we've got a couple of retirements in the shape of Weaver and White so far.
I think it's literally only the top four that haven't hit the wall yet.
Yeah, it must be.
I suppose Line scraped it, but he's definitely touched it.
Yeah. Maxwell setting his fastest lap, 2:04.8. So just keeping it in contention with the top two. Let's hear if there's any fuel saving going on here. He seems to be taking the usual line and usual acceleration. There might be a little bit of lap traffic coming up ahead.
I mean, he'll be fuel saving a little bit just from being in the tow there, really.
Yeah. It looked like Dom had a little bit of a slide coming out of that last corner.
Yeah, but he's not going to lose that position unless he hits the wall, right? Like you can't do an overtake through there.
Yeah. Very close to the wall, but go as close as you dare in those scenarios. Down at Forest Works about getting early on the power.
I thought Dom scraped the wall there just very slightly. Just turned in maybe slightly too early.
Yeah,
it's quite easy to do if you've got to turn in there and it all of a sudden grips up quite a lot, and sometimes you just turn in early and hit the wall on the left.
Yeah. What gear would you recommend coming out of Forest Elwood? Because I've seen guys use first gear, but also second gear.
I'm
not quite sure which ones.
I think I use seconds, but the first gear in the Lambo is just a nightmare.
Yeah, I bet it's oversteer city on that.
It's just there's too much of a jump between second and first, so when you go down into first, unless you do it when you're really quite slow, you can just send it round.
Very similar lap times by the top three again.
Line's getting closer to Ennis there.
Yeah, and set his fastest lap of the race so far. So he's actually lapping similar lap times here. As Du Gerber moves out the way and lets the top two past. Nicely done. So all but the top two in the clubbers have now been lapped already, and we're only not even halfway. Interesting. Ollie Walker's now set to 4.9, so he's back on it.
He probably feels like he doesn't have too much to lose at this point, though. Like, being sort of that far back, I've sort of been there. You sort of come out, you're 27 seconds behind next place. You just for a caution to wind a bit, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. That's Du Gerber taking an alternative route down there. Something must have happened to him because he came to a stop, so he must have clipped the wall potentially. Yeah, he's opted to tow, so something must have happened to Du Gerber.
Line 0.8 behind Ennis. Second closest. Mind you, saying that we've watched Evan behind Dom for ages now, be a half a second. But
yeah,
I just wonder whether he's happy there. He might just be quite content to sit there.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know his thoughts on that. Whether he's, I guess he's just looking at the pit stop and trying to get a better run into that. The pit run entry is quite, I would say, quite difficult, as we've seen some of the Rissy boys who've had issues there in the past. And that was Steve Pepper smoking in the pit, so we appear to be.
Wasn't he the one that had an exploding cigar last time?
Yeah, so his mechanics are covering. This is what happened to Du Gerber.
Yeah, that's going to be a pit.
Yeah, and opts for the safe thing by towing. So I'm sure his steering was absolutely wrecked. I hate when this happens. Yeah, instantly knows something's wrong. But opts for the safe exit. Don't blame him. Oh, and yeah, that's why there's some engine smoke there. Straight into that barrier. Yeah, she gets it going again. Fair play to Steve. Moves it out of the racing line.
Oh, and that's that Ollie crashing again.
That's that Ollie.
not entirely his own doing at that point, but yeah, it's the third time we've seen Ollie off.
Yeah, he's really
that's more times than all the races put together so far.
Yeah. Steve did the right thing there, actually, just trying to get the car off the racing line. So there's a bit of a blind corner. Yeah, Ollie just coming in a little bit too hot.
Yeah, I mean, Ollie, there was nobody in the way of Ollie there, but it's obviously just quite off-putting at the same time through there, because it's a tricky little sequence, isn't it?
Yeah, that might be Ollie's participation over. We'll see how his mechanics look at that and damage in the garage.
Well, I think they're just going to look at it and sort of, suck through their teeth and go, "Oh, mate, you're going home."
Yeah, that's it. I'm done. So Maxwell's losing a little bit of time here, so he might be struggling a little bit. Parker setting his fastest lap. We haven't talked too much about Dom, but he's just been pretty consistent, hasn't he?
Our money was on Dom, wasn't it, for this race? We spoke about that after the last one.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so let's see. Come on, Dom. Might actually get our prediction right.
So he was pretty quick at Spa. He had a disaster last race out, but then he set the fastest lap.
Yeah. Conception set the fastest lap so far, and Damon Mitchell, who's sitting in 4th place in the clubbers, set the fastest lap in that split. So the standings before most of the pit stops get out of the way are: in the top split, it's Parker from Conception, Maxwell, Innes, Line, Gerber, and that's Ollie Ettridge, who's in 7th. We just seen go off track, and it looks like Ollie Walker has now retired. In the clubbers, it's Simon Garau sitting in 1st place ahead of Sean Clark, Rich Meisters, and Damon Mitchell, who seem to be the only 4 who are left running out of about 9 cars in the Club 1500. So it is a bit of an Iron Man, last man standing event in that split.
Just went into the back of him, didn't he? There.
Yeah.
I was about to say this looks like he might be on for an overtake on the straight, but after hitting Dom, I don't think so now.
No, I think I think Dom slammed on the anchors there, just caught Evan out a bit. So that's what happened to Ollie. Yeah, just went a little bit too wide. And Dom comes left.
This is how Evan got so close to him.
Yeah. But well done to Shawnee. Difficult position to let people by cleanly, and he's done it pretty well. Allows the top 2 to race on.
Wow, that nearly could have ended both their races.
Yeah, it did, yeah. Right, they battle on. Whoa, and that's Paul Gerber spinning around. He's got that wrong. That might be a tow job as well. So that's both Gerbers and a couple of laps that have had to take a visit to the pits.
I think Innes is starting to really struggle there. He's down to the 06s.
Yeah, and Line's right on his tail. And this is Mitchell on Meisters. So this is for 3rd place in Club 1500. That is
Oh, you got to go to the inside. Go to the inside. Oh, you can cover that off. Just stick completely on the right hand side. No way anybody can get past you.
So Damon Mitchell now moves up to 3rd. But it's not over yet. Anything can happen in the next 20 minutes or so. And this is Mark Innes. He's been hunted down by David Line. So it looks like Line might now be getting acclimatised to it, but we won't speak too soon.
I'm not sure. I mean, hang
Whoa,
on a minute.
That's Mark Innes. Well dodged by David Line. So the pressure seems to have got to Mark Innes there. But, that's a shame. He was doing pretty okay.
I was going to say I wasn't sure that was down to Line necessarily finding his feet. I think that was more down to Innes starting to struggle for some reason there.
Yeah,
which culminated in that. So that's the that's only the top 3 now who haven't hit the wall.
Yeah,
rushed it.
Evan Conception sets his fastest lap, and Maxwell as well, but Parker coming in with an absolute beast of a lap, setting the fastest lap of the race so far, so he knows that the race is on. Hugging that inside line just in case Conception has any ideas. That's Sean Clark in for his pit stop. This is Paul Gerber just scraping the area. Oh, he's sliding all over the place.
Got away with it so far, but no. Now he's hit the wall.
Wow.
That was a very long setup for a crash. I mean, it started here, and then it sent him offline, didn't it? From that point, and then he nearly saved it, but then he was offline again.
He almost had it.
Now he's off again.
That would have been the greatest of escapes had he have made it. I could only just imagine the entry into that corner if he had made it, but he does. I'll give credit to Paul where he's due. He does seem to control the Porsche pretty well. And this was Mark's attempt. Falling with style, I guess we can call it. Yeah, just
see line really just crawling around there.
yeah. I think that's the only thing you can do. Whoa, slams on the brakes, which is surprising for the Lambo. It didn't squirm. Evan closing right up to Dom. Yeah, some of these. And that's Dom opting to pit now, so Evan's got an extra lap in him. He feels. Cuts as much as the curve as possible in pit entrance.
You can tell he's done this track a lot, can't you? He knows which way that pit entry goes. Nobody else does.
Very efficient entry.
You just, most people go into that and it's just all of a sudden random spaghetti, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Stephen Maxwell's managed to catch up just a little bit. He's managed to gain a second on Evan in the last lap or so. So both of them got an extra lap in them at least.
That's an early stop from Parker, from what we're used to. Mr. Fuel Save.
Yeah.
I just wonder if he could have gone another lap, but that wouldn't have made much sense.
Yeah. Not sure what the thinking behind that was, but we'll see how that plays out once all the pit stops shake.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see Evan do some very fast laps now.
Yeah, you have a lot of low fuel and you can absolutely crack on.
Ettridge into the 4.8s. I mean, that's like front running pace, really. But he's had a disaster.
Yeah, it's a shame about that. He's just not had the best of luck this race. So Simon opting for another lap round. He's got quite a substantial lead of over a minute now from second place, which is Damien Mitchell. Setting his fast lap to 7.1. I think Simon's just taking it nice and easy knowing he's got such a gap. I've seen him set 205s before, I think. This is Stephen Maxwell.
Oh,
whoa.
God. Well, I mean, he's got away with that, hasn't he? So now we're down to just two that haven't hit the wall.
Yeah, it's like everybody's having issues here.
I mean, most of the field is just split between people who have crashed and then people that have crashed once and then people that have crashed 2 times.
Yeah, it's like a Game of Thrones but in GT cars here. So Stephen Maxwell opts to pit and probably get a fast repair done at the same time. Some good timing though. Ollie Ettridge up to 5th position. He is coming up to Sean Clark. Sean Clark now in 4th, but he has pitted. And I'm just wondering if Rich Meesters might have to pit again. We'll soon find out. Rich Meesters also setting his fastest lap of the race at 7.7. Sean Clark went a little bit wide, and Ollie Ettridge takes evasive action.
So yeah, Meester's here. He's looking on for a podium. He's 20. He's a good 27 seconds ahead of 4th place. So I'm not sure if he's had a podium yet this season. I think it's because he falls into the category of cars that have only crashed once.
Yeah, that's right. Which is a rare category at the moment.
Yeah, you're doing well if you've only crashed once.
So Simon maintaining that lead from Damon Mitchell at 1 minute 3 seconds. Whoa, Mark Innes almost slamming into the wall but managed to get the brakes on. So those track conditions really are treacherous out there given how hot it is. David Lyon up to 2nd but still has to pit.
It's unlike Lyon to stay out longer than everybody else, but I think he's been so slow through the through the on the top of the hill bit, that he's kind of inadvertently fuel saved.
Yeah, you might be right actually. Yeah, it's a tortoise and a hare. So that was Rich Meisters. He's about 6 seconds off of Damon Mitchell, so that gap is slightly extending now. I'm wondering if Meisters will be able to cement third position. Surely Evan will be looking to pit now. I suspect they can't go too much longer.
It's a couple of laps here, so yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we see him in front of Dom after pits.
Yeah, he's managed to stretch that out and with a lighter fuel load. Mark Innes taking it nice and steady. And Forrest's elbow. There's not much Mark can do at the moment. He just has to kind of await any other errors from people ahead of him. Pretty much in no man's land. David Lyne quite nicely through there.
Yeah, I mean, Innes is the last top split driver on the track at the moment.
Yeah, it's a war of attrition. Ollie Walker's out and Paul Gerber's out as well, so hopefully we don't see any other retirements. Lyne's car's not looking too bad actually, given that and here is Evan coming in. Let's see how he fares with the pit entrance. Nice safe line into it. Brakes pretty late, but gets it slowed down in time. So it's going to be interesting to see where Parker comes in, whether Evan Conception will be able to jump him or not. So he has no tyre changes. That's Lyne coming in. That is Don Parker going round now.
Good lap as well. It's his best lap so far, to a 4.5.
Yeah, it's a good lap. It's a good one. But Evans managed to just come out ahead, so he's pulled a 4-second gap or so.
Yeah, by a fair gap there, really.
Yeah. So, game on. So Dom will have to get his skates on and try and catch up to Evan. I think he has got the ability to catch up here.
I mean, I heard from someone that the Ferrari's the best on the straights, fastest on the straights. So that might work in his favour.
Yeah, that could, yeah. Damon Mitchell, I just seen out the corner of my eye, set the fastest lap for Lubbers. Didn't quite grab the time, but he's brought that gap down by a whole whopping second to Simon. Half a second now being caught up between Parker and Conception.
So Evan's not had a win so far this season, and he probably feels that he deserves one as well, because
yeah,
I mean, I hate to say the word robbed, but he was something along those lines at the track that I can never pronounce.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he was very unlucky, and we'll see if we can maintain the gap.
Rod Scogan.
Yeah, Rod Scogan, that's the one. Yeah. Stephen Maxwell back out on track and in third position. Lyne sitting in the no man's land as well. This is Stephen Maxwell coming into the pits.
Oh, he's doing a risky racing though, isn't he?
Yeah, that's one thing you kind of need to practice here is your pit entrances. It's not as easy as it looks.
Oh, just find a bit of lawn mowing.
Yeah, I'll give that a 7 out of 10. So Dom Parker setting the fastest lap now, so he really is cracking ahead. So bringing that gap down, he's brought it down by a second in just a lap's time. So yeah, I can. It's probably feeling a little bit frustrated with himself why he wouldn't continue and get as much kind of lap time out of the car in the first stint.
I can only imagine that he didn't brim the car with fuel.
Yeah, that could be a possibility.
It doesn't sound like Dom though, does it?
No, it's a weird one, but he's got to fight on. This is Ollie Etridge coming in for his what would be a scheduled stop. Of course, he started from the pit lane, so he's a little bit behind. Be interesting to see if Mark Innes managed to catch up actually with Ollie.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I didn't realise that Ollie had to pit again, but that should, I think that should give it mark the position there.
Yeah, I think Ollie might just come out, but he will be in sight of Mark.
He's going to pass him here, I think, very easily.
Yeah, there he goes. Yeah.
Saying that, not going to be a huge gap, and Ollie's really quick around here.
Yeah. So yeah, pressure's on Mark yet again.
Like 3 laps left.
Yeah, I would say so. This is David Line who's going to try and get around Simon Garau.
Yeah, you can't really.
Rich Mises.
Yeah, I say you just got to let it off there and go single file, don't you? Really?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's the right thing to do by Rich. Evans setting his fastest lap, but Parker responding with an even quicker lap. So that gap is coming down yet again.
Not much time to do it now.
No, not really.
He's got to do a second lap really and pass.
Yeah, it's coming down, but I don't think there's going to be enough time. Gap between Innes and Etridge is coming down, so there might be a battle on in the last lap or so. And Dom just sliding a little bit there.
Yeah, I think the Innes Etridge battle is the closest one to the track.
Yeah,
it's gone under a second now.
Yeah, he's going to have to defend pretty hard. And that's Ollie getting around Sean Clark's. He's going to have a massive bit of draft. Takes the corner quite nicely. So does Mark though. Yeah, it's going to be really close. I think Mark will want to defend this. Yeah, he's going to stick it right on the apex.
He's got to keep it up for a couple of laps.
It's good that they actually have someone to battle with, given what's been going on in the race so far.
I mean, I would say from now, I mean, basically there's no overtaking now really. If Innes can just hug the inside line there, then Ollie's just got to wait for half a lap.
Yep, he does take a sneaky peek around the inside. Marks went slightly wide. Oh, that's forced them both to kind of drop a gear, but that's going to give Ollie the inside. Mark manages to hold it around the outside.
I don't think he quite had the overlap there, really.
Yeah, it's quite brave from both of them. Track conditions aren't the best. So Mark's probably going to have one more lap to hold on. Damien Mitchell setting yet another fast lap, so he's improved his time a little bit. In fact, Simon Garau must have had an issue because that gap to Mitchell's now came down to 30 seconds.
Oh, I don't think he wanted to do that. I'd say he didn't really need to cover that line, you know. Yeah. That cost him.
That's going to cost him position. Yep, that was.
I mean, I just don't think, even if somebody's right behind you, I don't think somebody can really do a move there unless they've been pretty reckless.
Yeah, he's going to have to use the slipstream. Oh, he's went too deep, so that's gonna. I think that's game over for Mark in terms of the 5th position. He's gonna have to give it an almighty effort to catch up with Ollie. Don Parker's brought that gap down to 2.4. Still not enough. Yeah, it's going to be too little too late, I think, as we should be approaching the white flag lap almost.
He's got to hope for some traffic or a mistake, really. I mean,
yeah.
if you hit some traffic anywhere from here for the next half a lap, then that can cost you a second or a second and a half.
Yeah, and if you take a bad line here or for a cell, it can give you a bad run. But it does, well, as you said, Ollie knows his way around this track pretty well, so unlikely he's going to make any mistakes. So not much in terms of work to do for Evan. He just needs to maintain that gap, which is now at 2 seconds. It should be enough.
He's about to catch some traffic in the worst part of the track, but it's not particularly slow traffic considering it's the leader of the Club 1500 race.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So he should get away with that. Oh no, that's improved there.
Yeah, that's nicely done actually.
It is. I don't think I'd have done that, because it's like, like when as you're going through that section, it's like, just don't make me drive anything other than the line I know.
Yeah, otherwise you're in trouble. Yep.
Yeah.
Dom's managed to get around him as well, so I think this must be the white flag lap. Just not enough in that gap. If it had been half a second less, then you might have had something, but yeah, not enough. And that gap between Ettridge and Innes is now almost 3.5 seconds, so it looks like Ollie has got that 5th position cemented in. So, Evan Conception, King of the Mountain at Bathurst. Congratulations, Evan. Nicely done. Don Parker takes 2nd place down under. He'll be kicking himself with the strategy in the pits. Simon Garral takes 1st place in the Club 1500. Great result for him, given he had a mistake in lap 1. Stephen Maxwell, solid 3rd position. What could have been had he not had a couple of issues earlier on. This is Damon Mitchell coming round in 2nd place. He also had a lap 1 issue, but managed to work his way back to 2nd, so that's a great result for Damon. Will put him in contention for the title also. David Lyon finishes in 4th, as Damon Mitchell takes a bit of a tumble to celebrate. Rich Meesters takes the podium position, so well done Rich, that's a great result. I think he could have actually improved on that had he not had these issues, because I think he was doing fairly well until he had a few meetings with the wall up towards Skyline. This was Damon Mitchell taking a trip with the barriers. In fact, his steering's wrecked, we can see. Yes, he had to work his way around pretty heroically. So, rounding up our results from Bathurst, Evan Conception takes the win ahead of Don Parker, with Stephen Maxwell in 3rd ahead of David Lyon, Ollie Ettridge, Mark Innes, Paul Gerber and Ollie Walker. In Club 1500, Simon Garral takes the win ahead of Damon Mitchell, Rich Smeeters, Sean Clark takes 4th position, Stu Gerber, Steve Pepper, Chris White and Jake Weaver. Looks like James Pepper didn't make the start. And the standings, I believe we're just about to see, as we take one last look at Ollie Walker's fabulous entry for his livery. So Ollie Walker on 154 points, but that gap has closed now with Evan gaining.
Yep.
Yeah, so it is. Yeah, it's definitely got closer. David Lyon on 113, with Don Parker also getting 112 points. So there's a little bit of a battle between those two coming up. We'll see how that fares. Steve Maxwell moves up as well, so on 95 points. So, do you think with that split that Ollie Walker's invincible, or do you think Evan's got an outside chance?
I don't think it's an outside chance. I think he's got like a straight up good chance, really. Ollie had a really good result at Rudskogen. From no stopping. If it wasn't for that, we'd probably see Evan ahead or really level at the moment.
Yeah, and as you can see from Club 1500, Damon Mitchell's went ahead. Simon Grau's made up a couple of positions as well as Rich Meisters, Drew Gerber, Steve Pepper and Sean Clark, who all raced today. So congratulations to those guys, they're heading up in the right direction. We'll see if Mark joins in the next race. Our next race is going to be at, I think, is it Okayama in Japan, isn't it? So that'll be interesting. As we see the championship standings in top split, 4X Racing are well ahead on 226 points ahead of Alpha Esports. So that's Ollie Walker Unleashed pretty much on his own, with David Lyon and Rob Miller still chasing him down on 141 points. Got the Wizards still a bit of work to do. We have got a couple more races ahead for the season, so they might make up that gap. And in the Club 1500, it is looking like a DSR duke out between orange and white, so 199 points and 189 points, so no one's made any position changes there. Simone Garraus went ahead of Chris White in the championship standings there, so that's maintained. So we've reached the halfway stage pretty much. Still pretty open, isn't it, Dave? So we've got Okayama. Are you a fan of that track?
Yeah, I quite like it. I quite like tight tracks, to be honest.
Yeah.
Also, one thing I'd point out is that Dom has done one less race than everyone else, and also had another terrible one. So taking drop scores into account, I think Dom's still in the running too.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at the calendar now. We've got Sebring as an endurance race, so I think he possibly might have a bit of a good run on that one as well. So don't count out Mr. Parker just yet. Right, so that wraps things up here at Bathurst. We are heading, as we said, to Okayama, so it's sayonara from Less Random Chris and Random Dave. Want to say goodbye, Dave?
Goodbye.